Why this girl was strolling through Ulta and she hear her man voice coming from another girl phone. Mind you, it's Valentine's Day, so she's just trying to pick up a couple makeup items before she go pick up her man gifts, and she hear her man voice. So she goes to the next aisle. She listening to the conversation, and she like, let me call him. So you know when you get an incoming call on FaceTime, it'll like pause the screen for the other person. So the girl is like, somebody calling you. He's talking about, oh, that's just my mama. And he ignored the girl phone call. His girlfriend phone call. So what she do? She snatched the phone like, oh, I'm your mama? Hold on. That's too fast. You snatched this girl phone out of her hand. What if she would have swung on you? That would have been my first instinct. Somebody snatched my phone. My first instinct is to swing on you. But she didn't swing. So the dude hang up the phone. Now the anger is directed towards the girl. Because, like, you know, it's a lot going on. Why you talking to my man? So the girl reached for her own phone back. Boop, girl hit her in the face. She started going through the phone. She see a message. The girl saying, I hope you ain't still playing house with that B. Hold on now. So you know he's playing house, but you was still messing with him. Have you ever been to the house? Because they live together. And they got 2 kids. Mind you, they still inside of Ulta. So they end up walking out of Ulta. The girlfriend still got her phone. They out in the parking lot. The girlfriend ends up throwing her phone on the ground. And she picked it back up and handed it to her. The girl ain't want to fight. That was the end of that. Like, she yelling and all this stuff, but ain't nothing happened. By the time the girlfriend get home, the boyfriend already at the house. Oh, I forgot to mention. He was telling the other girl, like, all the stuff he got her for Valentine's Day, all these plans for Valentine's Day, but he didn't get his girlfriend nothing for Valentine's Day. So, of course, when she get home, she put hands on him, too. So, she put on his dress, and you know dudes don't play about their dress, whatever, but he knew he was wrong. The girl ends up calling him, and, you know, she going off about what just happened and stuff like that. And the girlfriend tell him to tell her, like, I don't want to be with you. You were a big mistake. We all know that don't matter. That don't work. Later on, he gonna tell the girl that he's sorry and he didn't mean that, and the girl told him to say that. But he said it anyway. But the girlfriend said that she is done with him. She moving out the place and all that stuff. If she go back to her man, that's her business.
When I was in college, I saw my roommate wearing my boyfriend's shirt. Not knowing that it was his shirt at the time, I was like, oh, like, my boyfriend has the same shirt. And she got super defensive and was like, well, it's not his shirt. I stole this from a guy I hooked up with, because she would hook up with guys and then rob them after. I called my boyfriend after that, and he was like, oh, if it was my shirt, it would have a pen mark in the middle because I accidentally washed it with a pen once. I wanted to check for the pen mark, but I didn't see that shirt again until months later. She left to go home for spring break, and she told my roommates and I that we should go into her room while she's gone and play with her cat. So she knew I was gonna be going into her room. What do I see when I go into her room? I see that shirt inside out on the floor next to her bed, and I check, and it has the pen marks on it, so it is his shirt. And then I also see his hoodie and then also his jacket that I had just worn to my finals the day before. I was the last one to have worn like the sweatshirt and the jacket. He wasn't wearing it at the time, and the same with the t-shirt. My boyfriend gave it to me to wear as pajamas. I don't understand why she set it up for me to find or why she stole his stuff in the first place. I know one time my boyfriend was over with my brother and some friends, and she came home really drunk, and she was like, oh, like, I need to date somebody like your boyfriend. He's amazing. But don't worry, I would never steal him from you. Anyways, I took his clothes back, and then later on she was like, oh, like, someone stole my favorite shirt. And I was wondering if she was talking about like my boyfriend's shirt, like if that was her favorite shirt. Let me know why you guys think she did it. That was so weird.
I found out my childhood best friend was sleeping with my fiance a month before our wedding. And the funny thing is, she always like pretended like she low-key just like didn't like him. Like, she always made it seem like she didn't want to hang around him. And I thought maybe she was just a little jealous because I had started spending, obviously, less time with her and more time with him. But, like, once she found out we were engaged, like, she was low-key mad. Kind of like one of those friends that you kind of know wants to, like, wear your skin. Like, she would be you. And sometimes, like, imitation's the greatest form of flattery, blah, 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 blah. And that's how I felt for a long time until this happened. I found out because I was actually planning a little date with my fiance about a month before our wedding. I wanted us to have a little getaway. My girlfriend had told me about this spot in Gatlinburg that her and her husband had went to. They had taken spicy cubes that weekend and just like hung out in the jacuzzi. She said it was like magical. And I had been working a ton, so I was like, let's do this. So I tell her that I'm going to surprise him with this trip, and she's like not about it, which I wasn't really that surprised because she was never about it. I obviously still go to surprise my fiance anyway, and he is all down except for he finds out the weekend that we're supposed to go, and he's like, I can't go, I'm busy. And mind you, I had already booked the cabin, like I had already ordered the cubes, got the wine, like I had the lingerie picked out, everything. So I was a little disappointed when he was like, I have a work trip that weekend that he never really told me about. Well, the cubes did end up coming in the mail a couple days before, and we took them, and they worked really well, right? They worked great. I told my friend about it, and she was like low-key weird about it again. Like, I can't believe you would do that. Like, that's weird that you even have to take those with him. And I'm like, it's just fun. Like, it was fun as hell. Like, what is your problem? Like I said, she was jealous, and like we had been friends since we were children, so you just kind of look past certain things when it's like a long friendship. So fast forward to that weekend of his business trip, I decide to spend the weekend with my best friend. I'm going to surprise her with like a spa day, get our nails done, like all the fun girl stuff. When I go to her apartment to surprise her, she's not there. Mind you, she doesn't normally work weekends, so like I figured she'd be at home, but I wanted to surprise her with her favorite wine and just say, hey, we're going to do this in like a fun, lighthearted way. She's not home. I try to call her, nothing. So I go home, I just like cut on the TV, watch a movie, and I kind of fall asleep. And when I wake up, I notice she still hasn't called me back, which is really not like her. So I try to call her again. No answer, no text back. And then I remember that I have her location. So I go to look at it, and I notice that she's in Nashville, which is exactly where my fiance's business trip was this weekend. Okay. I'm like, that's weird. She never told me anything about that. And also, she hates him. So like, obviously, that's just a weird coincidence. I look at my husband's location. Same exact hotel. And at this point, I'm kind of dumb and naive. I'm like, whatever, like, no way. And that's when I text my fiance that she's at the same hotel as him and how weird that is, right? Like, that's so weird. Y'all are at the same hotel. And of course, he texts back like, haha, whatever. And in that moment, I hear a ding from his laptop. So I go look at the laptop. I'm like, that's weird. He didn't take his laptop on a business trip? Like, what? That's weird. There's a text on there from my best friend to him saying, I'll make up something about my grandma. She lives in Nashville. That's weird. So naturally, I go through all of the text thread between them to find out that they have been planning this little getaway together for quite some time. She actually got to him before I did. And clearly, he chose to go with her, which was also wild. Because, like, why are you even wanting to marry me if you're into my friend? Don't know. It wasn't like she was into him or anything. It was just like she wanted to do it with him because I had. Obviously, I was in shock that this was even happening. Like, it really threw me for a loop. But then dots started connecting. And, like, come to find out, this man was a serial cheater. So I did dodge a bullet. Obviously, we didn't get married. But, like, what weird fantasy to have. Literally want to wear your friend's skin so bad that you're willing to do this. Like, she was the type of friend that would see me saying I like something or I wanted it, and then she would go buy it. If I wanted a specific type of boots, I would say I'm going to buy one. She would literally go buy them before I could get them. Or if I did have a specific type of boots I had bought, she would also go get them. And, like, what do you say to someone? Like, it's flattering. But those should have been red flags for me. So beware if you have a friend like this, because anything that you do, they're going to want to do. Let's just say I had a lot of therapy sessions after that.